What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Point2Point NHL Recap Show, Season 3, Episode 10. I'm Pascal Pryor, joined by Mark Havlock. Mark, what's going on with you, dude? Anything going on?
No, nothing really. If you see in the background, I don't know if my dogs will get another picture. They're kind of wrestling right now. But honestly, dude, just been watching a lot of hockey, getting really into the Christmas movies too recently. I don't know about you. Like, I feel like the last week in November, I really started getting into it. And I've just been kind of watching it during the day when I got some free time. So kind of getting in the Christmas spirit, as the hockey season's we're getting into the thick of things, right? But I mean, fuck, dude, it's
Yeah.
so tight. Some of those divisions, excuse me. So just kind of nice to like put your focus elsewhere sometime, because you get kind of, at least me, I get really engaged in it, right? So it's kind of a nice break to just kind of be in the holiday spirit.
Dude, the holiday spirit's awesome, man. I'm kind of in that mood right now, too. Honestly, I haven't watched a Christmas movie yet, which might be a little controversial, but when I've been at work, I've been really into, like, on YouTube, you can put up, like Christmas music, and the video is basically like AI generated like Christmas videos. So, dude, I've been all dialed in on listening to that at work and kind of like watching those videos. It's kind of weird, but I also got a funny story from today. It's not a Christmas story whatsoever, but we knew we were recording today, right? And it's like 3 o'clock, and I'm sitting around watching Yellowstone because I've been absolutely dialed into Yellowstone the last couple days. So I'm watching Yellowstone, and all of a sudden, dude, I just got the craziest case of the hiccups. So I'm sitting there like just hiccup after hiccup after hiccup. And I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like I might not be able to record the podcast tonight if this keeps up. So I'm like freaking out, dude, chugging water, like focusing on my breathing. I'm just like burping, literally trying everything to get rid of these hiccups so we could record the podcast day. And thankfully, I don't have hiccups right now because I know how annoying that would have been. Welcome to season like that just would have been brutal, man. So I was just
Do you know
I
how
was
do
just
you know how they ended
tripping
up
all
going
day about
away,
it.
or was it kind of natural?
Oh, I think it had to be one of the 15 things I did. I was like dude, I was literally what I was drinking. I chugged a bunch of water. I was literally like burping, like forcing myself to burp. I was like dialed in on my breathing, so I was literally sitting there watching Yellowstone going for like 10 minutes. Like one of those three things had to help out there with the hiccups. So
Man, I when I get the hiccups, the only thing, at least recently, that will get rid of them for me is if I have like a scoop of peanut butter.
that's a weird one.
I read that somewhere, and it's honestly like there's only been one time where it hasn't worked for me, because literally while I was like taking the scoop in my mouth, I like hiccuped, and it was like bad timing, I think, and it like didn't go away. But that's literally one of the only things. Try like holding my breath, like
Yeah.
laying upside down, uh, obviously drinking water consistently, but like yeah, none of that really works for me besides peanut butter.
Yeah, for me, I have no clue what it was, dude, but I'm glad I got rid of them. Let's get right into the first story from today. On the top of the Atlantic Division, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 7-3 over their last 10 games. They're on a 3-game losing streak though, Mark. Would you say they're the favorites right now to win this division?
Yeah, I mean, after a slow start, I think that they've been kind of right on track here and getting back to the way that they can play. And the thing is, too, it's like they've been kind of doing it with some guys that we haven't even heard of before this season, filling in the
Yeah.
lineup for them with some injuries, especially on defense, with Hedman and McDonough being out. Like JJ Moser has stepped up a ton back there, and up front, like I feel like it was a little bit of a slow start for Kucherov. He's kind of picked it up. Point has had a slow start and was injured. I think he's back tonight, actually. So I'm curious to see if he's going to kind of
Yeah.
turn the corner here, because he's got 11 points this year, man. That's really
No,
surprising. Like, he
it's
hasn't
brutal.
really been that bad of a season probably since he like kind of entered the NHL, right? This team's a force, dude, and they were able to kind of like hold down the fort while some guys are out. But saying that, like they've got another task ahead of them now. Like Hedman and Kucherov are back, but I don't know if you heard, Vasilevsky is out now. Jonas Johansson's starting tonight against Toronto, and might be getting the net a little bit moving forward here. So I'm not too sure how big of a concern that'll be. I think he's been playing fairly decent this year, but he's no Vasilevsky, obviously, at the same time. And Vasi's been pretty good this year. So been pretty impressed of like how fast they've turned it around, I guess, considering they were like, what were they, like 3-6 three,
Yeah,
six,
they
and
did not
one or
have a
whatever
good
in their
start.
first 10. I did think that they were going to turn it around for sure, and I had them winning the division this year, but I'm kind of surprised at how fast they've done this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like 20 by the 28 game mark, you'd think a team that started 3-6-1 wouldn't be leading the division, but it's also just to talk about like how tight it is, right? In especially in the Eastern Conference, but most specifically the Metro Division. But um,
Yeah, the
yeah,
Like the the Atlantic Division's crazy right now because they are currently on top of the Atlantic Division, and the Toronto Maple Leafs and Ottawa Senators, who are currently second last and third last in the entire Eastern Conference, they're only 4 points out from first place in the Atlantic. So like there's a very minimal swing there. But for me, when I look at Tampa, like I think that they are my favorites right now to win this division. When I look at their team, it's like they've been kind of doing what they've been doing after such a slow start to the season. On top of that, like you mentioned, Braden Point, he has not looked like himself, whatever. Like if Tampa can all of a sudden get Braden Point back to the 50 kind of goal scorer that he is, they're gonna be even better than they have been these last few weeks. And the thing I'm kind of noticing about this team too is them bringing in Yanni Gord and Bjorkstrand last year. Like that trade looks like it is paying off, having that depth that we kind of remember from the championship teams with Tampa. Like they've kind of gone back to that depth, having those two guys now in the lineup, and I feel like it is kind of paying off for them because for me the last couple of seasons for Tampa it was like you got your big dogs, but after your big dogs, like who are kind of your secondary scorers? Like outside of Nick Paul, it kind of felt like they were missing some guys there, uh, playing in the middle six that could put the puck in the net. But now having Yanni Gordon, Bjorkstrand kind of filling those holes, like for me, I look at this Tampa team and I think if they can get everybody going all at the same time, and you got Vasi in net shutting things down, like I do like this team a fair bit, and I think they can make a fair bit of trouble here in the Atlantic Division. Mark, when you kind of look at their lineup, what would you say their big holes are and that you want to see get improved?
Honestly, I will kind of disagree with you on the whole Bjorkstrand thing. I actually haven't really been too impressed with him this year. Like as a guy who can score you 20 to 25, like
Yeah,
he's only got 2 goals this year. I do think bringing back Yanni Gord though uh,
a
has
big
been
help.
good for them, and the fact that he signed for just over $2 million long term, I think is ideal. And also considering that like Nick Paul was out the whole year until I think that he's played 9 games
Yeah.
now, right? So like having Gord as kind of filling in that 3C role in the short term was good, and a guy that they're familiar with, right? But I'll be honest with you, I haven't really been too impressed with Bjorkstrand. He wasn't really that great when he came over at the end of the year. Honestly, I kind of like to give some of those guys the benefit of the doubt, like adjusting midseason. But you'd think being surrounded by like good players, I just expected a little bit more statistically from him. I will be completely honest with you. I think if they have the opportunity, I think they were hoping that he could be like the second line winger. You know what I mean? That can score
Yeah.
goals and produce points. I really wonder if they're going to try and get rid of him and upgrade to try and get an upgrade on him for the top six.
See, if their plan is playing him in the top six, like I think you do try to go and upgrade that. But like to be honest, when I look at Bjorkstrand, I more see him as kind of like a third line 40 to 50 point type of guy, like on a Stanley Cup winning team at
He's
least.
not
Like
even on pace for that right now, though,
which
right?
yeah,
Like that's kind of where I see like I just don't know if the fit is there, right? And like he's maybe a little bit overpaid, but it's the last year of his contract. He can probably get rid of it. Like I don't know. Like right now, it's like they've got Nick Paul as their second line right winger and Gord as their third line center, right?
yeah.
So Bjorkstrand's playing on the fourth line, but he makes $5 million. So I don't know. I just maybe see a move where like almost like the Casey Middlestat thing in Colorado, like where like you bring a guy in and maybe it's just not working out and you kind of get rid of him. I do like Bjorkstrand a lot. I think he has been a very serviceable two-way forward who's even shown top six upside at times, but I think he is fairly inconsistent, and we're kind of seeing it in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, and for me, when I look at Tampa, like I think they do have some holes potentially to address here.
Like, where are they
But
going to move the money to bring someone in? Like that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like I don't see them. Who else are they trading? How like that makes any sort of money?
There's not really that many guys there on this team that would
It would
kind
have
of
to be
fit
like
that role.
Sorelli or
Yeah.
something or
And
Cernak,
then
and I don't know if I'm willing to do that.
and the thing with Tampa that's kind of interesting too is like we haven't really seen this team fully healthy yet this season. Like I'm looking at this and I didn't realize how crazy it was for Tampa, but dude, they've already had 29 skaters dressed for them this season. Like that's something you'd kind of think you'd maybe see towards the end of the year. I don't think, like, if you were Tampa and you're sitting there at the start of the season, you're going to say, yeah, by the end of November, we're going to have 29 guys have played an NHL game. Like, I think there'd be people in that organization going to get assessed for to be crazy because, like how often this early on in the season do you have 29 guys play a game for you in the NHL? So I do want to see what this team kind of looks like fully healthy and really give them a good 2 week span of like, hey, we're fully healthy now. We got our full lineup. Let's really see what we are here. But
I'm going to be completely honest with you, dude. And what you said brings me into this point. And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but right now, if the season ends, I think John Cooper should be the Jack Adams winner. The guy hasn't even won a
yeah,
friggin' trophy. And I think you can just saying what you talked about can help prove how much a coach could be impacting this team this year, especially with some of their best players like Point not looking at their best and some of them not even being in the lineup, right?
yeah,
Like, dude, Darren Radish has 18 points this year. Like, he's fourth on their
yeah.
team in scoring.
It's like 2 3 years ago. If you were to ask people, do you know who Darren Radish is? I feel like majority of casual hockey fans wouldn't really know. And all of a sudden this year, like this is a guy that's probably going to finish top 10 in points among defensemen in the NHL if he keeps up this pace. And you sent me this text the other day. Like he right now has set himself to get absolutely paid at some point here in the near future because with how weak this UFA class has been, it's like he might be the top defenseman going into it if he keeps this up. To be honest, and he's a right hand shot, I believe, as well. So like, there's gonna be a lot of teams calling around about him if he does hit free agency. Mark, I want to stay in the Atlantic Division and talk about the team just behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. You got the Boston Bruins there. They've really done a complete 360 to how their season was going last year, right? They had that top pick and they got James Higgins. This year they're sitting second in the Atlantic. Big question with them, Mark, is do you think they'll be able to keep this up and finish in a playoff spot?
Yeah. I mean, they are off to a pretty good start. Definitely a lot better than I expected. The one thing though is it is still fairly tight, and they have played more games than anybody like in their division. And
Yeah.
if teams do win their games in hand, like they will pass them, and they will be a little bit farther down. Um, I want to say no, they won't be, but I think they'll be right in the mix near the end. That's kind of how I see it playing out. I think some teams in the Atlantic are kind of underachieving right now, and I see them getting kind of back into the mix and Boston fizzling out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think Boston's going to necessarily keep this up and find themselves in a playoff spot. Uh, to be honest, I find it crazy that Morgan Geeky again is scoring the scoring
Dude,
the
I
way he
just don't
is.
get it. Like, I mean, kudos to
Yeah,
him, and he proved me wrong. Like, it's nuts. But like, dude, he's shooting 27% again.
yeah,
Like David Pasternak currently is shooting
12.8.
12.8%, and Morgan Geeky's shooting 27.5%, and he was last year too. Like, I just, and he's honestly been probably in the mix to make Canada. I don't really know if he will make it, but it's nuts to me, dude. But like honestly, I will say like some of the guys they brought in, like Jeannot hasn't been as bad as I thought he would be. Like they are getting some depth scoring, and honestly, Swayman has been playing really well.
Oh yeah, I feel like a huge part of their success right now is that Swayman has kind of found his game from 2 seasons ago. And back to the Morgan Geeky kind of conversation, like with Pasta kind of being out of the lineup for a little bit right now, like I do want to see what Morgan's Geeky kind of what his week looks like. Because you said in the summer, I think you word for word called him a David Pasternak merchant. So I kind of want to see what Morgan Geekie is going to look like this week when Pasta is going to be out of the lineup to see if maybe he does kind of have a down week and come back to reality. Because I'm going to be honest, dude, like I mean, I was kind of thinking about this the other day, like how like Morgan Geekie since last January 1st, I believe he leads the entire NHL in goals. So like it has been about a calendar year now of him kind of playing at this level. How much longer do you think he has to keep on playing like this though to kind of get that recognition of like, okay, Morgan Geekie actually like kind of is a top goal scorer in the NHL? Like, what do you say? Like, give it to the end of the season, or
Yeah, probably. But I mean, it just depends how many he ends up getting though. He ends up getting, right? Like if it's
yeah,
like 60, then it's like a maybe sooner than that. But I just can't believe the pace that he's scoring at right now. I feel like every game he's like scoring. Like it's nuts, right? Um, yeah, I mean, to go back on what you said, I heard a stat that at American Thanksgiving last year and at the 19 game mark, he had 2 goals and he was healthy scratched in the game. So
yeah,
then he ended up with 33 last year. So he had 31 goals from after American Thanksgiving for the rest of the year. And then he's got 22 this year. So that's 53 goals since last American Thanksgiving, right? So that's a lot. Like, I mean, he's already getting the recognition, right? It's just I think he's a solid player, and I honestly think this is kind of this is a little bit of a stretch, but this is kind of what I thought Morgan Geekie was supposed to be, like when he was a prospect and kind of coming into the league, and he just
yeah.
wasn't achieving that, and maybe it's just taking him a little bit longer to figure that out, and having an elite player by your side is a good thing, but um, I guess the problem is it's like he's never really not going to play with Pasternak besides like now when he's hurt, right? So it's kind
Yep.
of hard to like really figure out like if
What he
if he is that
fully is.
impacted by him or not. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, if he ends up scoring like 50 goals, like and has like 30 plus again next year, it's like he's an elite goal scorer, like right, like. It's just the way it is, and I can admit I'm wrong, but I'm still not like quite there yet. Like I
Yeah.
am definitely wrong, but it's like I'm still like I don't know if I could sit here right now and tell you that he's a first line winger in the NHL. Do you agree with that or no? Like if
See,
we go through every single team, like there'd be some teams where I'd be like Morgan Geekie's a first line winger, but I guarantee you I'd probably say about 25 of them I don't think he would be.
see, I agree with that, but I do think it's like if he keeps this up until the end of the season, like I think we get to the end of the season, if he's a 50 goal scorer, I think at that point you kind of got to look at it and be like, maybe he is a top line player on some of those teams,
I
right?
think their problem is I just have with this sometimes is like guys can like go off and score 40 and then it's like they like never get back to close and it's like
Yeah,
a peak season, right? Like dude, like Cam Atkinson scored 40 goals and then 2 years later he was like barely even playing and he was like
yeah.
sent down to the AHL. So it's like that's just sometimes when I look at guys and I just like maybe with Geeky I kind of saw like he just got hot, right? And then maybe he's playing with an elite player that it's and he's got a good skill set to him, right? Because obviously there's guys that can't play with Pasternak and do this, but it's like I'm not really ready to be like he's a top 20 winger in the league and he's a first line winger on like most of
Yeah.
the teams in the NHL. Like I'm sorry, I'm just not there yet. I think he's a top 6 forward, no doubt, probably on any team in the NHL, but I don't know. I'm not there for like the elite goal scorer yet.
For me, it almost kind of reminds me of like Zach Hyman and his like almost career path, where Zach Hyman, like early on in Toronto with Zach Hyman, I don't think anybody was really looking at Zach Hyman and was kind of saying this guy's going to score 50 goals at some point in his career, right? And then he just continued to grow and grow. And we look at Zach Hyman now, right? And like I think Zach Hyman went healthy and he's he's for sure a first line winger. Where I think Morgan Geekie's kind of like as of right now, it looks like he's kind of on this a similar trajectory where it's like there was question marks around him. He's kind of proven the doubters wrong right now, but like if he keeps this up, like I think it's gonna be safe to say that he is a first line winger, but I just don't think we have seen it for long enough at this point. Like I would agree with you. I think w- we need to see this go on for a longer period of time before we can safely say like, yeah, this guy is a top 20 winger or top 30 winger, whatever it is, right? Mark, I want to ask you one last thing here with the Bruins before we move on to some of the Olympic talk. What do you like? What is your vision for this team? Because to be honest, I look at this team and I look at where they are at right now, and it's like, how do you sell? How do you well, you can't sell. But then I look at the bigger picture and I'm like when you really look at their roster, I don't think this is a playoff team. Like so, I'm curious, what is your vision for this team for the rest of the season?
Well, for the rest of the season, I kind of agree. I think that once they stop playing more games than everybody else, they might set into reality a little bit. They've been doing okay without Pasternak. They are getting good goaltending. I think it's going to, honestly, a lot of it's going to depend on Swayman because I feel like I obviously was not high on this team, as were not a lot of other people. And I feel like a lot of people thought that if they did have success, that one of these scenarios would probably be the most likely. Definitely not the geeky part, but I mean, like, they're playing pretty well defensively and getting really good goaltending from
Yeah,
Swayman. And that would just be the most likely path for them to have success this year. So I do think a lot of this will ride on how good Swayman can or be for the rest of the season. If they continue to get production from their top guys and their depth or not. Like, I guess I will say it's like, I don't think that. Is it fair to say that I feel like what I've seen from the Bruins right now is kind of their peak? And it's like,
yeah,
it's whether or not they can sustain doing it or not. Like, I don't know if there's another level to this team unless Swayman turns into a 930 goalie, right? But at, I just don't see this team really having another level. I think that they're getting pretty good production all around. The one guy I haven't really been that impressed with this year, and he's been out a bit, is Hampus Lindholm. I feel like he could probably play a little bit better. The coach isn't really too keen on Lowry, but I think collectively as a group, their defense hasn't been too bad, right? And they're getting pretty good depth. It's like Middlestat's got 12 points in 20 games. Arvidsson's got 13. Esamont's got 13. Janot's got 12. Like, those guys all aren't going to put up 40, 50 points, but it's like if you have a bunch of them putting up 30, like,
yeah,
you're
it
going to be
chips away.
fine, right? So I feel like long term, though, if we're talking like next year, it's like even if they get in the playoffs, it's like I think they're just going to be out in the first round. And then next year, I'm just going to be not optimistic about them again, right? But the thing is, it's like I'm also not really that like mad about this if I'm management, considering we do have a second first round pick
Yeah,
this year, and we can still get some prospects kind of on the fly here.
and you got
Um,
Hagen's on the way.
One reason too, I kind of hated that whole deal when Allmark and Corpusalo, like having Corpusalo on their team literally meant that they couldn't use Brandon Bussey this year and had to not re-sign him. And look how good he's been with Carolina.
Yeah,
Like, so many Bruins fans were like, wait for this Bussy guy. He's going to be good. Like, he'll be a solid goalie. And it's like they waited it out and his contract ran out. And because you have this dumb commitment to Corpusalo, who has barely shown he's an NHL caliber goalie over the past 3 seasons, you have to stay with him and you let Bussy walk. And look at it now. You spent all this time developing him until he's 26 years old. And I literally felt like coming into the season, I was like, I think some team's going to take a shot on this guy because he's got a lot of NHL qualities and he's big. And I know he's playing behind a good defense right now, but their other goalies aren't really playing that well. Like, Freddie Anderson's kind of having a rough season.
yeah.
So
Freddie
I.
Anderson is.
I think the Bruins made a bit of a mistake letting Bussy go, is what I'll say. Like, I think he would have been a great compliment to Swayman, and you probably would be able to play Swayman even less.
Yeah, and the other thing with Swayman too is like he's not like it's not like he's making like very minimal money where like you're getting some cap flexibility from it. It's like you're not even really getting that much cap flexibility from with where Corpusal is at right now. I didn't understand that move bringing him back in that Allmark deal
Yeah, you're making
whatsoever.
it's 11 million over $11 million to both your goalies, and Corpusalo's basically like a league min goalie. Like I think
Yeah.
he's more of like a third goalie in the NHL at this point, and um, never understood it. And I think it was just because they were committed to him for a couple of years, right? But you can always throw those guys in the AHL and get some cap relief on it, and like have an internal battle for a backup job. But
Yeah, we've seen it before with goalies, of course, getting sent down to the AHL. I want to move on, Mark, and talk about the Olympics. We're going into week 3 of our team breakdowns for the Olympics. Today we got Sweden up on the list. So I'm going to start off, Mark, with naming my team. My first line on the wing, I got Jasper Bratt and William Nylander, and up the center of the ice, I got Leo Carlsson. My second line, I got Elias Pettersson, and on his wings, he's got Philip Forsberg and Adrian Kempe. Third line, I got Gabe Landeskog, centered by Mika Zibanejad, and on the other wing, I got Lucas Raymond. On my fourth line, I got Ricard Raquel, Joel Eriksson Ek, and Elias Lindholm. And then my two extra forwards that I'm bringing William Karlsson and William Eklund. And then moving on to my defense, I got Rasmus Dahlin playing with Jonas Brodin. I got Victor Hedman playing with Rasmus Anderson. And then I got Gustav Forsling playing with Eric Carlson. And my two extra defensemen I'm bringing is Hampus Lindholm and Simon Edvinsson. And then my three goalies are Linus Allmark, Philip Gustafsson, and Jacob Markstrom. Honestly, I was really debating leaving Jacob Markstrom off this team and bringing Jesper Wallstedt with this recency bias, but I just want to see a bit more from Wallstedt.
okay. That's pretty interesting. It's pretty similar to my team. We have I think a couple differences,
Yeah,
some line differences though. So for me with Sweden, I've got Leo Carlsson centering Philip Forsberg and William Nylander. My
yep,
second line, I've got Elias Pettersson centering Jesper Bratt and Adrian Kempe.
yep,
My third line, I've got Joel Eriksson Ek centering Lucas Raymond and Mika Zibanejad. And on the fourth line, I have Michael Backlund centering Gabe Landeskog and Ricard Raquel. My two extra forwards are the same as you, William Karlsson and William Eklund. On defense, I've got Victor Hedman with Rasmus Dahlin, Gustav Forsling with Eric Carlson, and Jonas Brodin with Rasmus Anderson. My two extra D are Matthias Ekholm and Philip Broberg. And my three goalies are Philip Gustafsson, Jesper Wallstedt, and Linus Allmark.
yeah. So you went ahead and you didn't bring Markstrom and you brought Wallstedt. Honestly, the more I'm thinking about it in the back of my head, dude, I think more of the move that is with
Here's
how
what
Wallstedt
played into
played.
factor a little bit with it, and I understand it is recency bias, but um, the one thing I will say is I kind of like getting the Minnesota tandem in there
Yeah,
together, and the other thing I will say is besides Gustafson, if I don't bring Wallstedt, my three other options are not having good seasons right now. One of them
yeah,
I'm taking an Allmark. He's not having a good season. Markstrom's not having a good season. And the guy that was there last year in place of Markstrom's injury, Sam Ersson, is also not having a good season.
yeah,
So I was more of the mind of if Philip Gustafson's kind of my guy going into it, he was the guy going into it last year. If it doesn't work out, I kind of have his partner who's been good. And if it's like if I brought Allmark and Markstrom, I would be very nervous with my backup if
yeah.
Gustafson doesn't work out. I feel like it would almost be like the Canada situation from last year. Like if one guy doesn't work out, like what the hell are we gonna do? So I just like having Wallstedt back there. Did you take Ekholm?
I did not. I left him off my team.
So I kind of wrestled with. I'm surprised you took Simone Edvinsson. That's an interesting one.
I
He
just
wasn't
think his
really in the
size.
mix for me.
I just think his size
Okay.
is.
I honestly think Philip Broberg's been having a really good year on
Yeah,
St. Louis, and I think that I kind of wrestled with putting Hampus Lindholm as my eighth guy. I don't think he's having a good year. He wasn't there last year because of injury, and the way I thought about it was, I think that Broberg probably won't really play much, but they kind of have an older decor if you don't
yeah,
bring a younger guy. Like if I went Hampus Lindholm and Ekholm as my 7-8, and then with the starting six I have now, it's like my youngest D is Darlene, who is fairly young, but there's no other youth. Like I feel like if there's 8 guys, you kind of want to lean towards bringing someone a part of the next generation. I don't mind the Edvinsson actually. Like I didn't really consider him much, but I think Broberg's kind of having a really underrated season, and I think he probably is in the mix to make the team. The William Karlsson one, I didn't know if you were going to put him because he just got put on LTIR. I'm not too sure how long he's out. I think if he can't end up playing, I would like to bring another center, and I probably would lean towards Elias Lindholm at that point.
Yeah.
But he is a guy that I did not have making the team this year. I know his stats don't look awful this year, but I still don't think he's playing that well. And I just don't think he did much at the last tournament that's going to make me want to take him. And honestly, I like Michael Backlund for that role better. Like now we're gonna talk about in a bit how it's a smaller ice surface that doesn't affect Backlund as much. And it's like if you really want to put William Karlsson there at the 4C role, like I'm fine with that because Karlsson already plays a 3C role in Vegas, right? And he's good defensively. He can shut guys down. I would just prefer that there over Elias Lindholm.
See, and for me, the way I was looking at it, like I similar thought process to you, but I went with Elias Lindholm over Backlund. And, sorry, I went with Carlson and Lindholm over Backlund, I guess. Um, just because I think with Lindholm, like he's played the wing before in the NHL, and I have him right now playing on the wing on that fourth line, so I think that's going to kind of help out there. And then essentially William Karlsson is in instead of Backlund. I do think though, like if any forward is going to be missing from this lineup that I have, like Backlund would be the next guy I'm bringing. And then to talk about the change we had on defense, like I was kind of under the same like headset with you with bringing Edvinsson as you were for Broberg. I was kind of like, yeah, I want to get a younger defenseman in there. I think Edvinsson, just with his size and his skating ability at his size as well, is kind of why I leaned his way. But I think Broberg was a pretty, for me, like the last two cuts I had on defense was Broberg and
They got a
Ekholm.
solid decor, dude. Like
They do.
I didn't take Edvinson or Hampus Lindholm. Like that's 10 solid guys there.
Yeah. Even their forwards, man, like their forwards, like looking at this team, dude, like if you get a good performance from one of your goalies, and like this is a team, to be honest, that like could surprise some people here at the tournament. Like I could see them easily making the finals game, and like I wouldn't be overly surprised, to be honest.
Here's one thing I'll say, and I don't know if you felt the same way making your team. I felt like when I was going, I had my general group of guys, and then there was obviously kind of near the depths of the lineup and the extras. But I was
Yeah.
surprised at how many guys that I thought going into it, I would be like, yeah, they're on the team. And then you kind of dive deeper and you're like, wow. Like they actually have a couple of decent guys that I didn't
Yeah.
pick. Like I was kind of wrestling between Elias Lindholm, honestly, Emil Heineman, Burakovsky, Arvidsson, Oliver Ekman Larson, Adam
Yeah, that was
Larson.
that, that was another guy.
Like there was a decent amount of guys that I didn't take that I was almost like, huh. Like I honestly thought before doing this, I probably would have had them on the team, but they've got a little bit more depth than like if they brought a second team, I think that second team wouldn't be awful.
No, it wouldn't, like it'd be still pretty decent. I think the one thing too that's like kind of changed last year compared to this year is like last year some of these like last year when we were talking about this team, how many the only young guy that was ever mentioned really was like Leo Carlson for the Four Nations face off. It was like, is Leo Carlson gonna make the team? And it's like, oh, if he makes the team, he's gonna be he's gonna be the last guy to make the team, right? Where it's like, dude, this year, like going in the tournament, there's no doubt in my mind that Leo Carlson is your number one centerman. Like he's gonna be
Yeah.
your number one centerman.
Well, no,
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
Eklund was kind of talked about too, and then he didn't end up making it. But I mean, last year,
Uh,
and I don't think Raquel didn't make it either. They kind of made a couple
yeah.
strange decisions
I,
with
I
their
just think
roster. I felt like,
I just think this year it's like Landeskog, he's back as well, right? It's like I think this year it's a lot of the guys are kind of having decent seasons to start the year compared to last year. There was a lot more like question marks around how some of the players were playing. And then I also think it's like some of these younger guys have arrived where last season like they hadn't fully arrived, right? Like another guy, Broberg last year. Like Broberg got off to a pretty good start last season. Wasn't too much talk about him making the Four Nations face off, where it's like now we've seen it for a full calendar year, the level his plays at, right? And there's a lot more discussion on should he be on the team, should he not be on the team, right? Like I feel like that's kind of a mix to the and kind of a part of why it's been a bit harder making this Sweden roster than we both originally thought it would be. Mark, before we move off from the Olympic talk, I want to talk about what the fuck's going on with this ice situation, man. Because I feel like everywhere you kind of are talking about the Olympics and hearing about the Olympics, you're hearing about what's going on with this ice situation. From what I've seen or heard, the rink is basically 3 feet smaller than a normal NHL size ice, and it's not even close to being finished, I guess. Like the rink, like I fully don't understand it. I know the NHL, I believe, is meeting about this at some point today or this week. Like what's fully going on here, dude, and what do you think's gonna happen? Because I'm at a loss of mind, dude.
Yeah, I think the whole it not being done yet is obviously true, but
Yeah,
I feel like the Olympics always does stuff last minute, and I kind of anticipate that it will be done. Um, for the length you're talking about, like being
yeah,
3 feet shorter, definitely surprising. The one thing I will say though is I'm not really convinced that it's going to make that big of a difference, because people don't realize too, like when Nashville and Pittsburgh were just over in Sweden, they were playing on that same size ice, like 197 feet.
okay,
And I don't think I heard anything about a player complaining about.
yeah,
Maybe once they play more games on it, it'll be noticeable. Here's the one thing I will say though. I think that teams that don't have as many NHL players on them. So basically everyone besides Canada, Sweden, USA, and Finland, for teams that don't have full NHL rosters, I think they're partially fucked. Because I think those guys are so used to playing on big ice surfaces, and they're going to be
yeah.
competing against NHL players on even an even smaller NHL ice, and they're not going to have as much time and space to do stuff as they would have if it was on an international ice. And I don't think it's going to be good for some of these countries. And obviously, some of them still have NHL players, but you're telling me a team like Switzerland, where it's like mostly European guys, that it's gonna,
Yeah.
maybe the NHL guys will be fine, but you're telling me some of those guys that play in Sweden and Switzerland and stuff are gonna be able to impact the game to the way they can? I can't. I don't buy it at all.
And even for the goalies, like it's going to completely change your angles for
Well, the
the
thing is,
goalies
though,
that are used to playing
what's
in Europe.
happening is the neutral zone is being impacted. It like the distance
Yeah.
from the net to the blue line is no difference. The neutral zone is smaller.
I'm more thinking though, like even like international compared to NHL size, like the width,
Oh
so
yeah.
the width is different, right? So like for some of these goalies that are like you play in the European leagues and play on the bigger ice surface, like that's gonna mess with your angles, right? Like you're the goalie expert. I know shit all about goaltending, but I feel
No,
like
it can definitely impact. I thought you just meant like the more distance, and if the blue
yeah,
line was closer in, and it, like shots would be kind of faster from the point. Um, it'll probably have some impact on them. The one thing I will say though is even some of these countries that aren't as great, I'd say minus their a couple, probably will actually have like an NHL goalie. Like it's
yeah.
like Germany's got Grubauer. Like we go over to
I don't think that's an NHL goalie though.
no, but it is a guy that's used to playing on a
Yeah.
similar ice surface, right? Like even Switzerland, you got like Akira Schmid. Like
Yeah.
there'll probably just be a couple countries that don't have one. Yeah, sure, it could have some effect on it for sure. Um, maybe as the tournament goes on and they play more games, it gets more talked about and players start to realize that there is an effect on it. But I, I just see it as like guys have gone over to Europe and played these games the last couple of years. No one has ever mentioned an issue about it being smaller or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just think it really affects the European countries that necessarily aren't filled with NHL players and are used to bigger ice surfaces.
For me, see, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like to be honest, would I like to see the international sized ice at the Olympics? Like to be honest, I would kind of prefer to see that. So it does suck a little bit there, but like I don't think really there's gonna be any complaints still watching it. For me, the bigger worry though is like, what is the ice quality gonna be like, and like, is this fucking venue gonna be ready? Because like, if
Well,
you're the NHL, there's already so much. Like the owners already really don't like sending the players to the Olympics and the idea of it. And it's like if the venue's not like if the venue's a last minute venue and it hasn't really been tested or anything, like I think the owners are really gonna hate that because like the last thing they need is Connor McDavid getting injured because the ice quality is not good and you know what I mean? What were you gonna say there though?
well, their plan is to do a test event there for 3 days, I think from January 9th to 11th to see the quality and kind of how it is over like over like a situation that what the ice is being used multiple times in a day. But people need to realize too, like there's going to be days where the men's have 2 games on the same rink in the same day, but you're also filling in holes with the women's games.
Yep.
So I saw the schedule. There's a couple times where there's 4 games in a day on one of the ice surfaces.
Yeah.
Like the ice needs to be able to last more than just like a game, maybe 2 in a day. Like it needs to be able to hold up for about anywhere from 12 to 14 hours, right? So it's going to be a challenge for them. Hopefully this test event goes well. I don't even want to get into what the heck would happen if they didn't end up going to the Olympics and what they would try
Yeah.
to do. Would they just give the teams a 3-week break? Like I'm not really sure how that would end up playing out, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, dude, because I want to see NHLers back at the Olympics this year. It's been too long without it.
I think we definitely will see them back at the Olympics. I'm assuming they got some sort of game plan. I don't even want to get into that though right now because like let's be honest, that could be a fucking half an hour conversation, if not more, about what the game plan would be if they can't go. I want to get into the last part of the podcast though. It's the game show kind of segment of the podcast. Today we're gonna be playing guess the player. We can only ask yes or no questions. Mark, I know we kind of settled that before we started the recording here. I got my player up in front of me right now. Let me pull up my timer here. You're going to have 90 seconds to guess this player. I pulled up my calculator app by accident. That's kind of embarrassing.
They'll give me a couple extra seconds.
Gives you a couple extra seconds to think of your first question. All right, timer starts now.
Are they in the Eastern Conference?
No.
Are they in the Pacific Division?
Yes.
Are they on the Edmonton Oilers?
No.
Are they a forward?
No.
Are they on the Vancouver Canucks?
No.
That's what, 5 questions?
Yep. You're 32 seconds in right now.
Are they on the Calgary Flames?
Yes, they are.
Is it Joel Hanley?
No.
Is it Rasmus Anderson?
No.
The D-man. Okay, Kevin Ball?
No.
Parekh?
No.
My God, Jake Bean?
No.
Who am I missing? Uyghur.
No.
Oh my God, Wolf.
No.
Cooley.
Yes. Devin
Oh man,
Cooley. You got
I
into minute
forgot I
12.
didn't. I forgot I didn't specify D.
Dude,
That's
I've just
definitely more
been
than 10. No.
more than 10. I'll have to do a final counter there. I think it was probably 10 players alone that you guessed before you got them, but hey,
I guessed your whole D core.
you got it in a minute 12, dude. So you got it within the time frame and you had some time to spare here, which I like to see. But dude, I've been just watching this guy's press conferences, man. There, oh, dude, this guy. Sometimes I'm like, dude, this guy has got to be high, dude. Like this guy's got to smoke a blunt, like after the game before he does his press conference, like with the whole. Have you seen that or no?
No, I haven't. Someone I think it was like Chicklets put a quote of it on Instagram, and I don't know if you saw. He responded to it like this whole paragraph, and he was just basically like, I don't really mean anything bad by this. He's just like It's just an easy way to decompress and not get too
Yeah,
too into the moment without like it affecting like your whole life. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool what he said, and I kind of was more like when I read that, I was like, all right, he is kind of normal. It's just like it's just a way of thinking that I understand it. It's just like I don't think I'd be able to do it or
same.
say it publicly, right? But man, they say goalies are weird, right? He's just one of them. I definitely see
Yeah.
how he's a goalie, but man, we talk about him. I love him. Like
Oh, same, dude. I
he
love
didn't
it.
even have a shot in the NHL yet this year, and people were like, they need a backup goalie already, and they didn't even give him a chance. And if you asked me 4 years ago if this guy would probably even never play an NHL game, I probably would have said no. So kudos to him on kind of carving his path, and they're already talking about extending him. So
Dude, the thing I love about it too, man, is just like he seems like just such like a zen mellow guy, dude. Like just gonna go do some like yoga in the morning, and
I think
it's
the
just
good
something
part I
about
like
him.
about it for you guys too, it's like you have Wolf, and you have a guy who maybe doesn't have the NHL experience, but he's got professional experience,
Yeah.
and he's backing up Wolf. And I guarantee you, as much as he probably doesn't say it, he's happy just to be there, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah,
not almost like you
without a
have a
doubt.
guy that like say you brought in, I don't know, like Cam Talbot, okay? Cam Talbot is your backup. Cam Talbot would be more wanting to fight for starts and probably obviously he wasn't really happy when Fleury got starts over him. So he probably wouldn't be happy if someone got starts over him, right? Where
Yeah.
for Cooley, it's like he's probably fine playing every fourth game. And honestly, as much as I love Wolf, I would play Cooley more, dude. Don't
Yeah.
why would you tire out Wolf? Like you have a good goal
Yeah.
backup playing well. I don't think they played him enough in the first 10, 15 games of the season. You might see him a little bit more moving forward.
I'm all with you on that, dude. I'm all with you on that. Mark, it's time for me to guess. Let me know when you have your player up in front of you, and I'll let's get it started.
Just setting my timer up here. I've got player in front of me. You are ready to go now.
Do they play in the East,
Yes.
Atlantic Division?
Yes.
Are they a Canadian team? On a
No.
Canadian team? No, so they're on an American team. Um, are they on one of the Florida teams?
No.
Are they on Buffalo?
No.
Are they on Boston?
Yes.
Are they a forward?
No.
Are they a defenseman?
Yes.
Is it Charlie McAvoy?
No.
Is it Lowry?
No.
Is it Lindholm?
No.
Fuck, I'm trying to think of their other defenseman now.
35
Is
seconds.
it a is it what's his name? Peak?
Yes, it
It
is. It's
is.
Andrew Peak. It's pretty good.
Not
You got in
gonna
a minute. You got in a minute, and that was, I think I counted 12 guesses you had there. So
not gonna lie, if it wasn't Peak, I think I would have been fucked, dude. I think I might have been fucked there. The worst part too is I literally had a tab open earlier of the Boston Bruins like full lineup.
that's
So
why I was curious to know if you would remember Peak.
yeah,
I mean, the other only options would have been like Yoki Haru or
which I would
um,
not have remembered him to be honest.
yeah, Peak's been. I feel like I've always kind of liked him. He's a
Yeah,
decent like depth defenseman. He's a free agent this year. Always just kind of stable defense from him, and I always feel like he never really gets enough credit. So, wonder if he'll like go somewhere and try to get a payday, or like maybe he likes it in Boston. But Columbus never really used him a whole lot, and then they just kind of got rid of him. And then he was like playing top 4 minutes for Boston,
yeah.
or
Like,
yeah, for Boston.
he has been good with Boston, man. Like it's definitely nice to see. Not gonna lie, I will say though, I think today's the first time since we've been doing these games that both of us have gotten it within the time frame. Might have to go back and look, but I don't think we've both gotten the player or the trivia question or whatever it is. I don't think we've both gotten it
No, I don't think
of the
so.
season.
You did that in a minute on in 18 milliseconds. So
Hell yeah, dude.
pretty fast, dude.
Hell yeah.
12 questions you asked.
I'm like gunslinger out here, man. Overall, though, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Point2Point NHL Recap Show. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about Finland for the Olympic rosters, so stay tuned for that. And for everybody tuning in right now, thanks for tuning in.